In the next few minutes, I'm going to do everything I can to try to persuade you to get into and stay in the best health of your life. And I'm going to share some things that I don't think you've considered before and give you some tools and strategies to realize you have to do this. Think about it. What is it costing you? Just even to be slightly off, to be a little bit out of shape or a little unhealthy, to just kind of cut those corners and just allow yourself, it's like settling, right? What is that costing you? And that's what I really want you to lean into here. I want you to live a long, healthy, vibrant life. And you know this already, right? That everything in life is experienced through your body. Your body is the vehicle and the filter for everything in your life. So right now I'm super sick, and I have been for like 10 days, which is crazy rare for me. I almost never get sick. But whatever I got right now is kicking my butt. And I've been sleeping like 12 to 15 hours a day and just low energy. But while I've been in this kind of gross sickness, it made me realize some things that I wanted to share with you. And I hope will kind of flip a switch for you to say, you know what? No more. I will not tolerate poor health anymore for the rest of life, right? I want you to say that. I want you to make that commitment. I want you to mean it. Because if we don't, play this out. If you don't, what is it going to cost you? And this is what's been on my mind this week. I've been tired. I've been crazy tired. And yet I thought, man, how often are you tired? How often do you struggle to have enough energy to really show up at work, to really show up at home, to really be there for your kids? How often do you struggle because you're tired after a long day and you got to go home for your family now, and your kids, right? You walk your kids, if you have kids, and your kids are like, yeah, let's go, high energy, they want to go after it, and you're like, oh man, right? You're barely hanging on. And unfortunately, our family often gets just leftovers. Or you need the mental clarity, the vibrancy, right? Time is your most precious thing, which, let's just be honest, and I think you know this already. If we're not in fantastic health, we are literally cutting our time on earth short. Let that sink in. Your kids deserve for you to be there. Your grandkids deserve for you to be there. And not just barely make it, not just barely surviving, but thriving. And I plan on being there for my great-grandkids and being in fantastic health and energy. So time, I'm buying myself time, right? Longevity. And time is the most precious thing, but then we have that energy factor we were just talking about. I want to bring energy to that time, so I'm not just merely existing, just barely going through the motions and struggling, but really vibrantly there. Don't you want that? Don't you need that? Man, and those two factors right there, those alone should be enough for you to draw a line in the proverbial sand and say, no more, I'm done. And here's the cool thing about this. You can decide today, right? I love to teach people you can't change destinations overnight, but you can easily change directions overnight. And I want to challenge you today, right now, before this video ends, to make a commitment deep in your soul. It's the kind of commitment where your integrity's on the line. Not like, oh yeah, I should do that, but I must do that. Non-negotiable. Has to happen. And I want you to make that kind of commitment and stick to it for the rest of your life. Here's a couple other factors that maybe you haven't thought of, right? So you make yourself way more susceptible to illness. And you might know this already, but let it sink in. The lower your health, so whether you're eating poorly or you're overweight, the more that happens, or the more kind of bad things you're consuming, tobacco, for example. You guys, tobacco products kill over 400,000 people every year just in the US alone. That same statistic is true for obesity. Over 400,000 people die every year from the effects of obesity. Right? And it makes you susceptible to so many other things, because what it does, it breaks down your immune system. And so your body is fighting so hard when you're unhealthy, that it makes it harder to fight off illnesses. Here's something really crazy fascinating. I did a bunch of brain research, and you guys should learn. Dr. Daniel Amen has a couple of books. You can read his books or just watch his videos. Super, super good. He talked about how being unhealthy and overweight affects the cognitive functioning, the cognitive ability of your brain. Your brain is less capable when you're unhealthy. But think about it, that makes sense, doesn't it? Because your brain feeds off the food you're getting, right? And your brain and your body are just so interconnected. So if my body's not in optimal condition, nor can my brain be. Whoa, let that sink in. Now here's the kicker. We don't know what we don't know. Or like C.S. Lewis said, you don't know you're asleep when you're sleeping. It's not until you wake up that you realize you've been sleeping. And when we're in that, right, when we're in it, when we're unhealthy or we're feeling off, we don't realize how much it's affecting us. It's hard to contrast the energy we used to feel or could feel, especially if it's been so long since you felt it. I work with great clients, right? Great guys, high achievers, really successful, but many of them, because they're so busy in life and they haven't made it a priority, they haven't enjoyed really great health their entire adult lives. It's been so long since they were at a good, healthy weight and had great energy levels and vitality, they've forgotten what it's like, right? My clients often say to me after I start working with them, they're like, dude, I haven't felt this good since high school. I haven't had this kind of energy. I haven't looked like this since I was in high school, right? And that just thrills me. And I've helped clients lose lots and lots of weight. Because once you decide, then there's some simple formulas you follow. And I'm telling you, man, everything gets better. The brain fog, and again, I was thinking about this because I've been sick all week. Like, my brain's so foggy. Like, simple things, you're like, gosh, what is that? Like, it's hard to make decisions. It's hard to be excited. That is another thing. Your excitement is dropping. Your vibrancy, your vitality, like what are the words? Like, just feeling awake, energized, and alive, that just drops down the more unhealthy you are with eating and drinking garbage and being out of shape. It just drops and drops and drops. And you wouldn't think it would affect your attitude or your mindset or your perspective or your outlook. It totally does, because it's all related. And so then you're just kind of, oh geez, this is tough. And you start, dragging yourself mentally and emotionally and physically and then spiritually. It's just all there because it's all interconnected. So then you find yourself just going along through life. And then on top of this, like, you see, I'm trying to bombard you here, not to make you feel bad, not to throw you under the bus, but to bring back the big picture where this has to be a must for you. You can't tolerate this of yourself anymore. But the other piece that comes into this is how much it affects your self-image and your confidence. And think about that, right? Think about how that costs you. What does a lack of confidence cost you? In a month, in 6 months, in a year, in a decade? What does it cost you to struggle with some insecurities? To be afraid of what people think, to choose not to do things because you're concerned about how you look or how you feel or your ability to do it. Because the more our health drops, the more it limits what we can even do. So things you used to love doing, I'm guessing you don't do anymore because your health kind of prevents it. And your image and your confidence starts to get tanked. Right, you with me? And then it tears you up. And then you're going through life and it affects your marriage. And it affects your libido and your sex drive. And it affects like how you engage at work, how you engage with your community, how you engage in the world. See, all of this. And you're a great guy, right? You're already doing great things. But I promise, you are leaving greatness on the table. There's potential that you have not tapped because you are not in the best health of your life. So I want you to commit today, right now, to get in the absolute best health of your life. If you've got extra weight to drop, drop it. Start with a fast. Do a 1 or 2 or 3 day fast. Drink tons of water, but cut out food. And then once you start back, try eating so you have an eating window and then a fasting window. So you try to fast for 16 hours a day, including the time you sleep, right? So you just eat during an 8-hour window. So you could pick maybe 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and have dinner at 6 and no food after dinner until 10 o'clock, right? And you can move that window, but just try that. And then again, that's not that hard. The first couple of days are kind of hard and you're like, man, that was kind of tough. But after you do it, you're good and your body feels fantastic. Your energy levels go up. It's actually really, really good for your body. I'll do it. That's called intermittent fasting. I'll do that for the rest of my life, right? And it's helped me and a lot of my clients get in fantastic health. I promise you can lose a lot of weight just by doing that. Then just cut out junk. Pick a couple of things that are just not good for your body and just cut them out completely. If you're consuming some kind of tobacco product, just stop, man. Do it for you, do it for your kids, do it for your grandkids. Stop. You can do this. You can totally do this. Sodas, just cut them out. Sugars, right? Get refined sugars, cut those things out. Just any of that, any really refined foods and just the junk, right? Now some of you might be like, oh, that's everything. I'm gonna be miserable. Oh, no way, man. There's so many wonderful things you can eat, right? I'm a foodie. I'm a total foodie. We literally travel the world to eat great food. We have traveled the seasons of the world just to eat. Everywhere from fresh salmon and halibut in Alaska, all the way down to mango season in Costa Rica, and then the finest restaurants in Paris and Peru. I love food, and my rule is that it has to be delicious and nutritious, and that's it. So make that your new rule. It's your new standard. I can eat it, it just has to be delicious and nutritious, right? And don't eat too much, and don't eat any garbage. Just say like love yourself, honor yourself. Like nothing goes through these lips that isn't fuel for my body, because my body's the vehicle for life. You with me on this? Like your body is your vehicle and your filter for everything. If you want to have an extraordinary life, you need an extraordinary body. In order to have an extraordinary body, you give it fuel like you would like the fanciest sports car or the most expensive racehorse in the world, which is like $16 million. You're gonna feed that horse garbage. Don't do it to yourself. Every time we eat garbage, it's an act of disrespect. Stop disrespecting yourself. Get back into this. Make it a must. Stop wasting time. Time is life. Life is time. It's the most precious thing there is. And I want you to live a long, energized, healthy life where your brain is clear and active and capable. What does it cost you if your brain isn't operating at full capacity? What ideas? What decisions would you miss out on for your kids, for your marriage, for your business, for your grandkids, for making a positive impact in the world, simply because your body's not in good condition? Oh, man. What opportunities are you going to miss out on because you just don't have the health and energy? Not just going and hiking some beautiful mountain or some long bike ride or some epic experience because you physically can't do it, but more than that. If you don't have the energy, you can't show up. Really show up. And let that sink in. I know I'm purposely trying to bring some pain in here, because where there's pain, there's power. And for me, that's all I have to think about. Say, what will this cost me? What will it cost me over my life to, because here's the excuse, right? You think, oh man, it's only 10 pounds, only 20 pounds, 30 pounds, it's only 40 pounds. Like, I still have a good life. I still think I'm still doing well in my job, still earning good money, still love my family. Like, well, it's not that big of a deal. What is it costing you? Seriously. Spend some time writing that and then flip it. If you were to drop the weight, if you were to get in great health and great shape, what's possible for you? Dream a little, write about it. What could you achieve? What could you do? What could you become? What could you accomplish? How would you feel about you and about your life? I hope you'll decide right now that you commit to get into and stay into the best health of your life for the rest of your life. Right? It's worth it. Oh, it's so worth it. And I get to help my clients do this all the time, right? It's in my Be the Man Masterclass course. We totally cover all of this and go into the details of how to make it happen. And I do it with my coaching clients. So if you have questions, you want to figure out how to make this happen, I know there's all kinds of confusion, right? You read all these books and they're like, do this, and then another book comes out and says, do the exact opposite. You're like, who am I supposed to believe? Like, there's a contradicting book for everything out there. Like, how do I figure out what works best? And there's just some simple formulas that just plain work. And those are those common denominators of success when it comes to health, right? Whoa. So subscribe to this channel. Check out the Extraordinary Family Life podcast. Subscribe to that. There's a lot in there about health and our bodies. And just commit right now. And take action right now. Pick something, one thing. Whether you're going to cut something out or start drinking more water or start eating more salads, like whatever it is. You're going to start intermittent fasting. If you're going to do that 3-day fast we talked about. Like whatever it is, pick something, start right now. And I promise the commitment to get into and stay into the best health of your life will be one of the most important things you ever do for you, for your spouse, for your children and grandchildren, and hopefully for your great grandchildren. Reach upward.